Welcome to Beyond the Music, the podcast where we dive into the lives and stories of people who shape the world of music. I am Lena.
And I am Karina. We're both classically trained singers, and this podcast is our chance to explore the fascinating intersections of music, history, and humanity.
In our previous episode, Karina told us everything you need to know about the French composer Lully. And today we'll be exploring something a little bit more colorful. A musical and cultural movement that transformed a nation and captured the world. Today's topic, the evolution of K-pop. So we're going to start modern.
That's so cool.
And I do try to speak the Korean names of the most groups I'm gonna mention, since I am able to read Korean a little bit, but still probably every Korean will say that's not pronounced correctly, so I'm excusing myself beforehand. So, to understand K-pop, we have to go back to South Korea in the early 1990s. A country just emerging from decades of political control, finding its new cultural identity. At that time, Korean pop, or Gayo, was mostly made up of sentimental ballads and love songs influenced by Western pop, but still quite conservative in tone. And then came Sotaeji and Boys, or in Korean, Sotaeji Idol. In 1992, they performed I Know, 난 알아요, on national television. It was a complete shock. They mixed hip-hop beats, electric bass line rap, and dance. So they mixed different styles associated with American youth culture, but used Korean lyrics that criticized the rigid education system and social expectations. The judges on the show gave them low scores, but the young audiences, they erupted. Within days, Sotaeji became a youth icon. That moment is considered the birth of modern K-pop. So, Karina, can you imagine if one TV performance could change the entire direction of your country's music scene? Do you think that could even happen today?
I don't know. Oh my gosh, that would be incredible to witness that.
Yeah, right? After Sotaeji's success, South Korea's music industry realized there was something new. A generation that wanted to express itself, not just to follow tradition. That spirit of reinvention would become K-pop's DNA. After the Sotaeji revolution, companies began to professionalize what had once been a rebellious art form. By the mid-1990s, agencies like SM Entertainment, founded by producer Lee Soo-man, began recruiting young trainees, some as young as 12. They were taught to sing, dance, act, and even learn English, Japanese, or Chinese. These trainees lived in dorms, often for years, under incredibly strict schedules. And still going to school beside that.
Wow.
This became the idol system, a kind of musical academy meets factory model.
Weird.
Yeah, the first generation of idol groups soon followed. There was H.O.T., whose song Candy became a national hit. SES, one of the first major girl groups, and Shinhwa, who still perform today, nearly 25 years later. Their look, sound, and choreography set the blueprint for future groups. Each group had a concept, roles for each member. The leader, the visual, the main vocalist, the rapper, and each comeback was treated like a theatrical act, complete with costumes and storylines. So, as a classical singer, doesn't that remind you a bit of opera?
Very
Karina?
much.
I mean, the idea of roles, visual storytelling, and
Yeah.
transformation. So, there's kind of a connection there. The training and discipline might seem extreme, but it produced performers who could deliver flawless live shows, dancing and singing simultaneously, something rarely demanded of Western pop acts at that level. Because look at those choreographies, they are insane.
They are so talented.
I mean, in the early days, the choreographies were a little bit easier, I'd say, but still is something I couldn't sing while doing that. So, by the early 2000s, the South Korean government recognized K-pop's potential as cultural diplomacy. They invested in promoting Korean entertainment abroad. Like they produced that term Hallyu, which means it's the Korean wave.
Okay.
That was coming from the government, kind of. And there are artists like Boa and Rain, which is in Korean called P. They became stars in Japan and China, proving that Korean pop could travel. Then came TVXQ or Dongbangshigi, Super Junior, and Girls' Generation. Groups that blended catchy melodies with polished visuals and multilingual releases. So the music wasn't just in Korean anymore. They used a lot of English parts and even sometimes brought out the song they had already in Korean with Japanese lyrics.
Cool.
Their concerts filled stadiums across Asia. For the first time, Western media began noticing, what is this perfectly synchronized, highly produced pop coming from Seoul? By the late 2000s, YouTube changed everything. Fans around the world could suddenly access K-pop music videos the same day they dropped in Korea. Wonder Girls even charted in the US with Nobody in 2009, a huge milestone. And then came BTS, or in Korean, Bangtan Sonyeondan, the game changer.
Yes, they are incredible.
Yeah. They debuted under a small label, Big Hit Entertainment, in 2013 and built their global success through authenticity and digital connection. Their songs like Blood, Sweat and Tears or Pi Dan Nunmu, that is completely butchered that, Spring Day, yeah, Bomnal, and Dynamite, which has an English title, so I don't have to say that, combined personal storytelling with universal emotion. So their openness about societal issues and their direct communication with fans online made them feel personal, not distant idols, but relatable artists. The late 2010s and 20s brought what we now call the third and fourth generation of K-pop. Groups like EXO, Blackpink, Twice, Stray Kids, and aespa refined the genre with new production styles, blending trap, EDM, R&B, and hyperpop. Some, like aespa, even created fictional AI avatars as part of their concept, exploring the fusion between virtual identity and reality. Meanwhile, newer acts like New Jeans have embraced a different approach, minimal production, 1990s nostalgia, and a sense of authenticity that contrasts the earlier idol perfection. So it's fascinating. Each generation reacts to the one before. Where early idols aimed for flawless performance, the new ones aim for emotional realness. So K-pop isn't just a genre, it's a mirror of Korean society's evolution from collective perfectionism to individuality and creativity. So also the opening of the country to the Western world did a huge thing with that, with all the modern technology coming in. So that's why it even had the chance to go that way. Of course, it's important to acknowledge the darker sides of the industry. Because everywhere where's light, there is shadow.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, trainees often endure long working hours, high stress, and limited personal freedom. Some face public scrutiny from online communities that dissect every move and appearance. There have been tragic cases, artists like Jonghyun of SHINee and Sully from FX, whose death sparked national conversations about mental health and the pressures of fame. So, for those who don't know, those were two idols who unalived themselves because of depression and yeah. But from these tragedies, the industry is slowly changing, not as fast as you would like to, but slowly. Fans are more vocal about supporting artists' well-being, and labels have begun implementing counseling and rest periods. K-pop, for all its glamour, is also a story about the human cost of perfection and the resilience of artists who keep reinventing what it means to perform. Also, there is the part with a little bit of toxic fandoms, idols who are not allowed to date. So they're in their youth, they're in their puberty years, and they are not allowed to date because it could hurt fans.
Aww.
So it's always a scandal if the press is bringing out an article about an idol who is dating and they were caught. And it even resulted in a few persons who were then thrown out of the group because of that.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's normally okay for the male idols after their military service that the people say, well, they are grown up now. They can. But before that, you have to live for your fans. And that is kind of something, especially mostly the international fandoms are supporting the idols whatsoever. But the Korean fandoms, they have put a lot of pressure on their idols. And still, they are Korean idols. They are doing the main part of their career in this country. So even if it's maybe a smaller community, they have more power than the international community often. So this is also a part, yeah. They have to control every move and what they do, with whom they are doing, and who are they meeting, because they could end up in the press somewhere and then get have really big problems afterwards. So, but this is also slowly changing a little, that the people are not anymore like that freaked out if an idol is having a girl or a boyfriend. But it's still slowly too slow, changing too slow, I think. So, what's next for K-pop? The fifth generation is already emerging, with artists blending virtual worlds, live performance, and AI technology. But the heart of K-pop, collaboration, storytelling, and connection, remains the same. It began with rebellion, grew into discipline, and now stands for expression. From Sotaji and Boys to BTS, from Nan Arayo to Butter, it's the story of how one nation turned music into its most powerful cultural language. K-pop isn't just Korea's export. It's a reminder that rhythm, emotion, and creativity are universal. And it's a really interesting topic to read about.
Most
I
definitely.
have to say, because it's one of the countries who really put a lot of money into culture and succeeded. So K-pop is one of the main money-making industries for South Korea, beside Samsung, Hyundai, and everything like the tech. This is like one of the other main industries in South Korea. So I hope some politicians hear that. Put money into the cultural sector, please. It's a good thing to do.
It is.
So I hope you enjoyed the evolution of K-pop as much as we did. If you liked this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.
Next time, we'll delve into another fascinating chapter of music history. Until then, keep listening and discovering the stories beyond the music. See you next time.